Hi Jan, this is Bob Keane with a brief video hoping to clarify some of the misconceptions about active member file protection, uh, at least in as far as media files are concerned, which could be JPEG, GIFs, MP4, anything you may want to offer as a download through your WordPress site. Basically, I've uploaded two files here. One's a PNG, the other is a JPEG. I'll look at the first one briefly. Forget whatever it's, the image itself is not important. What I do want to point out is that this particular file is not protected by ActiveMember, whereas the other one, I have added this level of protection to it, and that's what we're going to be using for testing or for demonstrating how um, file protection can be achieved. First of all, the usual components. When you upload an image or any kind of a media file to your media library, it'll end up with a name which you can change anytime. It'll end up with a permalink, as you see here. You'll have the active member protection box as usual. You can have your caption, a couple of other things in here that you can use to help you manage your media library. And then there's one more item here, the file URL, which points, I'm going to copy it and display it here to have a better view of it. Some of the path is hidden here, and we'll see this is the domain name, and then under it is the path to the physical location of the file. I'm going to take this out again, just so when I refer to physical location, I'm referring to this location, whereas the uploaded file has another aspect to it. It's considered to be an attachment page by WordPress. I'm going to close these here, and if I say view attachment page, open it in the new tab, we're going to see the representation of that upload. It'll have it'll be a WordPress page or something that looks like a page. Well, it is in a way. It's an attachment page, and when I click on the graphic here, it'll actually show me the image, and it'll use the full path of that file on the server. It's a little bit different looking. I think it has to do with the fact that we're developing on a multi-site. But so that's the effect. If I were to take this file now, copy this link or this URL, and paste it in an incognito window, and actually, just load the file, it's going to display it. It shows up a little bit smaller here than it should because it's smaller size, but yeah, otherwise it would be the same principle. So let's close this. What happens here? So we have an image that we've uploaded. We've said we want this protected, but actually the only thing we're protecting are the things that are under WordPress's control. The file, the image that is displayed on the right hand side in the incognito session, that file is not under WordPress control. It's a file that is just out there, and WordPress has no control over it, does not protect it, does not do anything, and there's actually no interaction with WordPress, which means that at that level, ActiveMember can also not help you protect that file. How do we get around that? Basically, what we would do is we would add a we would add a file called htaccess to your the uploads directory, and just these 3 lines of code. You don't actually really need the first one, just the 2, because if rewrite engine was not on, your WordPress wouldn't work. But just for clarity, we're including it. But you would actually only need these 2 lines. But let's say these 3 lines of code added to a file called htaccess in your uploads directory will actually solve a lot of problems. And let me show you what I mean by that. I'm going to save this file, and I'm going to come back to this incognito session, and I'm going to refresh the page, and right away it's forbidden. This is not magic from ActiveMember. This is your htaccess file doing its job. And this is exactly the same thing that MemberPress uses, and wishlist member, and whatever else you have out there. The basic protection is granted by this htaccess file. If I were to take this link here, and if I were to say open that in an incognito window, you'll see we saw earlier it gets displayed, WordPress gets called up, but that particular attachment page is not displayed. I'm going to do something else here. I'm going to say add a new post, and in that post I'm going to say add media. I'm going to say create a gallery, and I'm going to select both of these images to be included in the gallery. So it gets created, and once it's created I say insert it. And so now WordPress has inserted a gallery with 2 images in it. One of these images is protected and one isn't. I'm going to publish this page, and here on the left hand side where I am logged in, I'm going to say okay, show me that gallery, and it's going to show me two items. If I click on one, I'm going to get the attachment page. If I click on the image, it's going to show me the image in full size. Let's go back 1, 2, do the same thing with the happy birthday image. I get that displayed. If I click further, I get the full size representation of that image. If I copy that URL now and take it over here into the incognito session, let's make that a little bit larger, you're going to see that I'm not getting 2 images, I'm only getting 1. The reason for that is that on the right hand side, I'm not logged in, and so the only image that is displaying in the gallery is the item that is not protected. If I click on that, I'll see the image. But if I were to take this image and call it up, if I were to close this, essentially if I were to close everything and reopen another incognito window, and if I just pasted that in there, oh, I copied the wrong one, did I? No, I didn't. This is the one I meant to copy. 1 second. Let's close this again. new incognito window. If I now just use the physical link to the page, I don't have permissions. So what this means is that I can only access this file if I clicked it from within the WordPress site that is protected by activemember360. So in the thread in which I posted this video, I keep referring to there is no 100%, it's not possible to fully protect physical files within WordPress. And it's true. You can't do it in Wishlist, you can't do it in MemberPress, and you also can't do it in ActiveMember. The reason is that these links, or the protection that is provided here, is provided by way of an htaccess file which relies on the referrer. Or it could be something else. It could be the domain name, which is essentially what we're using here. There's different ways of doing this, but at the end of the day, it relies pretty much on the referrer. The referrer is the name of the site from which you click the link that took you to a specific location. And if that doesn't match, then you don't have access to the file. And if it does match, you do have access to the file. That seems pretty much locked down and pretty tight. The problem is that you can always fake a referrer. So if you have enough criminal energy and you spend enough time searching the internet, there are ways, there are programs out there that will actually spoof or fake a referrer. You can, the same with an IP address, the same with most of the items that are used in htaccess to prevent access to files. So it's never a 100% solution. The only 100% solution that I know, and this is why we've implemented that fully in ActiveMember, is Amazon S3. But having said that, I want to say again that we provide the same level of protection, if you will, as MemberPress or Wishlist Member and so forth. The only thing that you are required to add is those 3 lines of instructions in an htaccess file. And once you do that, you've got pretty much a 99% solution, just like all these other plugins, especially the one mentioned by Eric Slater several times in the thread, which is MemberPress. So we're just as good or just as bad in that respect, but for everything else, you can rely on ActiveMember to protect your files. I hope that didn't add to the confusion and provided additional clarity. If you have more questions, Jan, just drop me a line and we'll get to the bottom of it, okay? Thank you.